Before I get into this, because this is a thick video, nice hip to waist ratio, I want you guys to pause and let me know in the comments what your experience is with writer's block. Any info would be of value to me. What works for you or what doesn't. Or if you're like Sam, I don't give a fuck about that bullshit, just drop your knowledge so I can fix my writer's block, write this shit, and get on with my day. Then I'm with you. So, there are two ways of getting over writer's block. Two ways that I've found at least. And I'm gonna go over them in the video coming right up. Each way has 3 steps. The first way works way more often and easier. The second one I don't really recommend to at least 99.9% of the people watching this video. I used to do it somehow with ease, and it somehow worked. And I do the first one before I run into any problems now, like at all. So now I never even experience writer's block. So that's why so many artists are like, dude, I have writer's block, what the fuck? And I kind of deep down not only feel for them and understand where they're coming from, like it can be the most frustrating thing when you want to get something done. But you feel like there's literally like some kind of block in your brain stopping you from making it happen because it's creativity. But I believe that creativity itself can become a habit, and you can teach yourself to be creative at all times, like on command. I say that because these two methods are exercises of self-discipline in my opinion. So here are the 2 ways. Here are the 2 exercises. Both of them each have 3 steps. Exercise 1 is called the normal way. Step 1, leave the room. You can get so much out of simply leaving the room, and a huge reason for that is that by letting that beat ride, and you're trying and trying to come up with something creative, but nothing seems to even pop out of your head. The longer you do that, you start to kill your own vibe. You know what I mean? When it comes to the studio, or at least creativity in my experience, is a byproduct of how you're feeling about the environment around you. And when you just sit there, you're letting that energy get to you, maybe it like subconsciously or something affects the way you feel about the studio wherever you are. So maybe it's like physically your body is telling you, and maybe consciously you're not really processing it. Hey man, you are exhausting yourself even by just being here. So step 1 is leave the room. Step 2 is do something else. Just by shifting your focus from I need to get this done to I'm gonna get something else done, your ego is kind of put to the side and you are let go by yourself into a different realm, almost spiritually speaking, a different place aside from the location. So play video games, go to the zoo. I always take a walk and come back. I don't know man, it's your life. I mean, many things I do with how much shit I just put out there and how much content I'm cranking out, a lot of those things, I do them, I experience them, and I get a scary amount of ideas from them. The smallest interactions I get out of and start coming up with all these ideas for lines about how this lady looked at me in the eyes and told me I have a very interesting hair color, and my entire world was like flipped upside down and thrown into a basketball hoop, and the crowd just went wild, and it's very weird, okay? I'm really weird, but when I go through these things and process them, I try to embrace it. So 1, leave the room. Step 2, go do something else. Step 3 is come back to your own success. When you come back, you will more likely than not have a flood of ideas that you can just get going and going, or at least some that will guide you to where you're looking to go with that one song or verse or hook. And the more you demand of yourself, the higher your expectations. Sometimes that can kind of rebound. I don't know about you guys, I've experienced this, and it just kind of makes you feel inferior to what you want out of yourself. And I feel like that's part of growth, especially as a musician and or producer. But it can't be one of the healthier aspects of it. You know what I mean? Something to keep in mind with this is that you don't only need to put the song out, but if you do and it's not that great and nobody fucks with it, they're not going to be thinking about that. That's not the song they're primarily going to remember you for. They're probably primarily going to remember you for the songs that they do fuck with, the songs that offer more value to them and make their lives better in whatever ways. So leave the room, do something else, go live life and come back to your own success. If this doesn't work at first, like I said, it's a discipline. Do it and do it and do it again. Repeat, hammer, hammer, hammer. And I promise you will succeed at it.
Exercise 2 is the crazy way.
Step 1 is stay in the room. When you stay in the room, you are taking a risk. You might kill your mood. You might actually depress yourself. But if you stick to that and move through step 2, you might just get somewhere amazing with it. I've done this and somehow it works. I don't know of any producers or artists who have tried this and it works for them, but it's definitely worked for me. And I don't do it anymore, but that's really just because I don't have to. And I think it's also because I used to do it, and then I started mixing that with exercise 1, and my ability to just start and go, no matter what, seems to just happen. It all kind of took off, but that's just me. So stay in the room. And step 2 is think and think and think. This is where things get a little
weird.
There was a time, maybe 1 or 2 months after I started writing, I came up with 8 lines over a beat I made,
and it took me 4 hours to do.
I spent 4 hours listening to this
same exact beat
till I came up with 8 lines, and I thought they were pretty fucking cool. Like I said, this is just discipline on like steroids. And this was a time in my life where I was extremely hard on myself to get things done, like probably harder than now. Now is just a different kind of hard. It's like an easy hard, I don't know. But then I would just keep going going and going at all costs. I would not take my eyes off that iPad. And I wasn't looking for answers. I was just running as fast as I possibly could with a blindfold on. And I think that's okay for some time. Maybe not forever. I think many of us who grow over time, I think we tend to go through points like that. So stay in the room, think and think and think to the point where it kind of hurts. Again, I recommend like 99.9% of the people watching do not try this. And step 3 is drive yourself insane to the point of your own success. Like I said, I seriously do not recommend anyone does this. Like the 0.1% of people watching this video are gonna see this whole section and be like, wow, that sounds like a really good idea. And I've done it and somehow it's worked. And I could do it now, but again, I never really run into writer's block because I make it a habit to do things that kind of clear my mind. Anyway, I take a walk, I meditate, I stretch a little, I watch self-educational videos, seminars, interviews, I take notes on them. Like I have a YouTube channel and a podcast and I make beats and write music. So I have so many different ideas to kind of look at and bounce off of. Some other ways, which are pretty effective, is to listen to your oldest influences, like your musical roots. A lot of mine are like progressive power metal and like black metal and death metal bands, like Dream Theater, Symphony X, Opeth, Ayreon, Dying Fetus, Cannibal Corpse. These guys are like my idols, and I listen to them and I get so many ideas. A lot of artists are really into like Biggie and stuff. Sometimes I listen to those guys and get a lot of ideas. Sometimes you gotta listen to something you normally wouldn't. Sometimes you gotta watch a movie or read a book, but I think something else is to always be filling your mind with ideas regarding some field of study. If you have a hobby or passion or something you do outside of making music, I think your passion for that, at least in my experience, can really help fuel your passion for making music. And I talk about that in some of my other videos. I have a video coming out soon about what to write about if you haven't really been through much. And even if you have been through much, I guarantee you're gonna get some ideas out of that video. But those videos are not this one. So I wanna know what you guys think. You guys have anything else you want me to talk about in future videos? Let me know in the comments and I'll give you a shout out if and when I use them. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up. There are links at the bottom of the description to all my social media. Also at the bottom of the description, there's a link to my music production kits where you can find all the equipment and software I use to make music. And these videos. If you guys buy any, I get commission, which helps me build this channel and keep making these videos for you guys. I made all the beats in this video. If you want to use them, you can find them at samuel.world. Make sure to leave a like if you like it, subscribe if you haven't already. If you could turn on that little bell or receive a notification every time I drop a new video, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can find me everywhere and I will see you then.